In the last video, we discussed 3 reasons why ChatGPT Plus sucks. And as a result, I actually built my own app to get over the limitation and to use the APIs in order to access these models. But I wanted to share this with my family, and they're not necessarily coders. So I found some pre-built software that can allow me to do the same thing that I do with my own app, except you don't have to code it yourself. So before we actually jump in towards using that pre-built software, let me show you what I have built. This is the homepage, and you can see that we've got a list of prompt designers. So I've got all the list of prompts that I use to use the models. The interesting thing is that I have got this vanilla, which basically under the hood is using the OpenAI's models and their OpenAPI key to access these models, and I can select which one is which. And of course, I have voice to text, and I've also integrated with another third party. It just gives you like custom voices, and also have access to all the OpenAI's voice models as well. So this is my tutor prompt, which is not, to be honest, not a very good prompt, but it goes by. On the left hand side, you can see that I've got like custom apps like Quizmaster. I've been playing around with trying to have a real-time chat. And also over here, you can see that also having basically, they recently launched their new 3.5 model. It's supposedly to be better than ChatGPT or GPT-4 Turbo, but I don't think I have made it work yet just yet. There's still some issues on that. So this is one of the reasons why I actually don't want to use my own app, because it's just, if I need to add something, it becomes very difficult. The advantage is that I can customize it to however I like. So over here, you can see like, if I want to save a new prompt, not only that I can save a new version of the same prompt, but I can also create a new version and also like tell it like which models I have to use. And of course, I can read up all of the prompt text and all this. So I've linked a database and it's getting it from over there. So yeah, this is what my app is. But the another interesting thing that I found was anything LLM. So this is a software, and I'll pull up a website as well, anything LLM, and you can see that this is basically a copy of ChatGPT, and it allows you to have the similar functionalities. So let's try this out. So in order for this, you need to have a workspace, or like basically like a folder, and the thread are basically your chats. If you go to the settings, you can look at the LLM preference. So I've installed Llama as well, which basically means that I'm running this large language model locally on my machine. So instead of like going off to the servers and talking to OpenAI and paying for that, all of these models run natively on my machine, which is pretty cool. But if I wanted to use the OpenAI model, I can obviously use it and just paste in the API key. And of course, I've got loads of choices between GPT-4o and GPT-4 Turbo, which is pretty good. And there's Anthropic as well, which is quite cool. And there you go. I can actually access 3.5 Sonnet as well. So if we just go, and also the really cool thing about this is that it also has 11 labs as well, which is quite good. I've got all of the different voices here and these are the custom voices, the generated voices that I have in my account that I use. So you can use those, which is actually pretty cool. Transcription model, this is the text-to-speech model, all well and good. So if we get started and be like, hey, what's up? I'm not sure which one is it actually using. So it might be actually using my own machine's GPU. So you can see that the GPU is starting to ramp up, and the amount of RAM that I have is also ramping up. So yes, this is basically running on my machine locally. And to see which model is it exactly running, we can go here. So it's running the 70 billion parameter model. For time's sake, let me just use the smaller version, smaller prompt. The cool thing is that you can add a preset in the software, and you can have agents as well. Text size, I mean, it's actually not that bad. There's another software that I've come across, and I've been actually using quite a bit more than my own app, and it's called Open Web UI. So if you look at this, this is basically, it looks very, very similar to ChatGPT, but some really, really cool features, which I can't wait to show you. I have it running on my machine. You can see over here all of my different chats that I have, and over here, if I go to the settings, you can actually see the interface. You have the connections. Don't worry, this will get changed anyway. So yeah, you should never ever expose your API key. This is basically like the key, and anybody can technically use this and make calls from my account, and it could just rack up thousands of dollars. But yeah, this is going to be changed. The really cool thing about this is that I can run many models at the same time. So I can have, let's say I want to run the 70 billion parameter model. For time's sake, I'm just going to use the smaller models for now. GPT-4, let's try them. So I have a GPT-4 Turbo, and when I say, hey to this,
hey, how's it going?
And it actually read aloud.
How's it going?
Okay, please stop. I think I've enabled voice text text to speech, but you can see like this thing runs locally. This model is actually making a call to the open API, and obviously I'm getting charged for this, and this is still yet running, and you can see the GPU being spiked up. The really cool thing about this is that it actually allows you to run 3 models at the same time or compare responses right here and there. So let me give you a better example. So let's say you want to know the techniques of handling stress, single tip to handle stress. So imagine that you obviously ask for a single tip. This is just to show, like, sure, the GPT-4 Turbo will give an answer. But the thing is that these 3 models are completely different, and they would give a different response. So if it doesn't give a different response, it would give a different variation of the same response. So obviously this takes a little bit more time because I'm actually running this on my GPU, but you can see that once it loads up, it's actually quite cool. So this one is talking about breathing exercises, which is fine, which is almost the same, but you can see like it sort of gives you a different variation of the same response. So over here it just talks about a breathing exercise, and this is another 4-7 breathing control, but this also tells you how is it actually effective as well. So sometimes it just depends on the model and the response and what kind of things you can get. So in this way, not only when I'm trying to actually learn something or use these models, I'm effectively calling and comparing responses from 3 models at the same time. And obviously whatever that I reply over here would get sent to all these 3, and then I would get the same response, and each of them have the chat message history. So what I mean by that is the GPT-4 Turbo has history of my message and its message. This Llama 3 model has a history of this message, my message, and its previous messages, so which is actually quite cool. So you can actually have lots of conversation between the 2. There you go. And this is how I'm actually using these models right now. Hope you enjoyed it and hope this was interesting for you. Until next time.